we know trauma isn't just about memory. Trauma lives in our body, in our cells, right? And can a blessing reach to that level, in that depth where trauma can be healed?
Absolutely. In fact, like that's the one of the premise of our clinical trials is people who have severe trauma, severe mental and emotional health problems.
Okay.
But I like to just give an overview of what trauma is exactly. Trauma is usually when either we've suppressed our emotions or the world, something in some situation, another person or circumstance has forced our emotions to become suppressed, right? We've been forced to live in an emotional reality that we're uncomfortable with. That's essentially what trauma is. So, one example of trauma, and you can see how trauma is reflected from different levels of consciousness. Most psychologists, if you talk to them, they'll say trauma lingers for the rest of your life, right? You can maybe improve the degrees by which you experience it or live with it, reframe it for yourself, give it different context. But a lot of psychologists believe that even with, dosing on drugs and therapy and all these things, trauma continues till you die. That's what a lot of psychologists and scientists firmly believe. Trauma is so residual, it goes down to your very DNA, your genetics, your core of who you are. And they found out they even pass on experiences and likings and dislikings and things genetically to your children. So you can pass trauma down genetically as well, right? Aversions and likings and dislikings, all of that is genetically passed down. So trauma is very severe, and people underestimate the influence of emotions and our mental state on our physical well-being as well. It is such a big influencing factor. There's a real reason why there is a mind-body connection, right? And so trauma, when you look at it from a lower level of consciousness, I give this example where you take a woman, right, who, was absolutely in love with this man, right? And they had a wonderful relationship. And we've applied this realistically too with real human testimonials. So these are real examples. This is just a story though. You take a woman who's been rejected suddenly out of nowhere. They've lived together, loved each other for years, right? And suddenly he says, I don't love you anymore. We're mismatched, right? He rejects, says, I hate you, everything about you, right? Completely rejected, throwing this woman on the street. This woman's living with trauma now, right? And this trauma is everything. It manifests as mental restlessness, like poor quality sleep, poor energy. Their whole metabolic system is in havoc. Their, anxiety, depression, it's a whole host of problems. Menstrual problems start to arise from all of that. You have all these situations that arise from this traumatic experience. This woman starts to doubt her value, her self-worth, right? Loses inspiration, motivation, wants to just lay in bed and rot, right? As this term goes, all of that, right? That's from a lower level of consciousness. From a higher level of consciousness, we've seen this. We've seen people who leave relationships even with the blessing. And what happens is, as a result, when this relationship separates, even if they're rejected, they don't suffer from the complex of the rejection. What happens as a result is they're at peace with it. They're okay. Instead, how they take it, how they internalize it, how their mind takes it in, right? And facilitates it within their being and gives it the framework within them without them having to do anything on their own, without them having to, like give themselves positive affirmations and work themselves up. They automatically reframe it as, this is good for me. This is something that's beneficial. Nothing wrong happened. This relationship was not good for me. They were toxic. This is bad. This is actually the grace of God working in my life. My soulmate is out there. I'm being taken care of. Everything's good. Their confidence is higher. Their self-worth is higher. They feel more appreciated and valued afterwards. It's like trauma takes a different, direction. It's like kicked out of their lives and instead something else takes root. Right. And it builds their confidence and their motivation. And they go out and they usually find their soulmate, somebody that's a better match for them, better destiny.